How did the invitation
How
to
do
follow,
you become
we
a
would call
disciple
it
maker?
evangelization
It is a
today,
whole process.
and discipling fit together in Jesus' ministry? Just about everybody seems to think that they are making disciples. And I find very often that people do not really understand how disciple making and evangelization fits together. The confusion goes back to a period of history 300 years ago that most of us share in our spiritual traditions. It started in England almost 300 years ago in a glorious period called the Great Awakening, or sometimes the Great Revival. From England, the revival spread to all the colonies, impacting what later would become the United States, big areas of Africa, Australia, and even some areas in the East. Famous preachers drew large crowds, and they had a common message. First of all, there was a focus on conviction of sin, repentance, assurance of salvation for those who had a personal meeting with Christ, resulting in a holy lifestyle. This was a message that was desperately needed at its time. The people coming to Christ in their thousands all over the world had a few things in common. First of all, they were backsliders. They came from a Christian background within a Christian culture. And for a generation or sometimes a generation or two, they have been living an unholy lifestyle, and they knew it. They were guilty, and they knew it. And God was angry at them, and they knew it. They were ready to respond to the message that there is a way out, that they can be forgiven, and that they can be in the right standing with God. The process of salvation was clear. First, you had an encounter with Christ at some or other evangelization meeting, responding to an invitation. You would join a church and be discipled through sermons, Bible studies, prayer meetings, and discipleship groups, very often groups of men and women separately. The process was very simple. First get saved, then get discipled. It was a practical approach that worked. It worked amongst backsliders within a culture where people already knew that they were sinners. How did Jesus do it? He invited people to follow him as disciples before they were born again and saved. We actually do not even really know when Jesus' disciples were saved. What we know is that when they started off following him, they probably were just curious and excited and honored to be able to follow a rabbi like Jesus. And we know that on the way, Jesus would bring the invitation time and time again. Do you still want to follow me? If you want to follow me, there will be a price to pay. Are you willing to continue? What we know is that at the end, everyone except Judas was saved. When did it happen? We don't know. It seems that Jesus' method was different from the way we grew up and our understanding of evangelization and discipleship. Inviting to follow, what we would call evangelization. The good news that even young fishermen like the 12 could follow a rabbi like Jesus. Inviting to follow and discipling began together from day one. Jesus did not wait with discipling until after salvation. He began discipling together with the invitation to follow. It may be that the people you reach out to are from a backslider generation and will respond to the traditional approach. But then you will have to put extra emphasis on following Jesus, because very often this will be what is lacking. But it just may be that doing it the Jesus way will bring much better results by putting a strong emphasis on following Jesus from day one. How will this change the way you reach out to people? How will this change the way you evangelize? How will this change the way you disciple? Think about this. Go and make disciples the Jesus way.